So a lot of you know that this channel is never afraid to stir the pot a little bit. And, unfortunately, a lot of people only remember the negative stuff and often don't remember the positive things, the calling out shady selling practices, print quality videos, and things like that. But that's neither here nor there. If you're going to be critical of local game stores, then you also have to be impartial. You have to give a fair look at both sides. And so you must reward or stick up for somebody who you think needs it, but also then not be afraid to criticize them. So I can't just criticize local game stores if I don't also then look at the other side of what life is like in their shoes. And there is a impending doom, I think, for local game stores. And it's happening closer than most people think. But I want to start by defining reality a little bit. So local game stores, by and large, are not run by pioneers of business. I know this sounds mean, but I think if they're introspective, if they look at themselves, they would agree. They're not run by millionaires and people with master's degrees in business who have run other successful businesses. They're run by fans. This makes them particularly vulnerable to bad decision making and an over-reliance on a game that they love by allowing emotion to factor in sometimes. Most of the local game stores also rely on a disproportionate amount of their income coming from Magic the Gathering product. This is the nature of the beast. Magic the Gathering is the largest game in the world, and most game shops just don't have the capital to diversify out into 50 different games. They usually carry a couple. Also, in the chain of how the money flows in the local game store business, by the time the local game store actually gets their product, everyone has already made their money, okay? Wizards of the Coast got paid by the distributor. The distributor got paid by the game store. And now the game store is the one ultimately with all of the risk. And running a local game store shouldn't be a vow of poverty. It also shouldn't be entirely Wizards of the Coast's responsibility to buoy bad businesses or businesses that refuse to adapt. And so there needs to be a middle ground. There's a zero-sum game running in the sports card world or the trading card world now. And that is that in a lot of cases, demand is static. And, depending on the product, there's a set amount of demand and many sellers available to fulfill that demand. And customers, rightfully so, can be very price conscious, meaning the loyalty to a local game store isn't what a lot of us would think it is. I mean, we have large YouTubers in this space that used to say you can't play Magic at Walmart or Target that now just promote large internet Magic companies. So this stuff has a toll. It takes a toll on the little guy. And when you can buy the same product, because it's a consumable good, it's exactly the same from whomever you buy it, for $1 or $2 less, you're not creating more demand by lowering that price. You're just shifting it. So if TK Games, my local game store, has booster boxes for $110, and I open up A-Hole Games 2 blocks away and I sell my booster boxes for $100, I am not going to generate any new demand by existing. The demand is almost entirely the responsibility of Wizards of the Coast to a certain degree. All I'm going to do is bleed customers away from TK Games temporarily. Then TK Games will lower their price, steal their customers back. I will lower my price, and we'll either both or I will go out of business. This is why I say it's a zero-sum game. And when you apply it to the online market, it's basically a race to the bottom. And I have a pretty spicy video Monday I won't say really exposing, but I've been doing a bit of investigation on where the bottom is set in the Magic world, product wise, and it's pretty controversial. It's going to be a good video. I've been working together with insiders at distributors. I've been working with insiders who are buyers. I've been working with local game stores. This is pretty interesting, and that's going to be coming out Monday. But before I talk about that, I feel like I want to be on the same page. So we know that for the most part, local game stores can't generate demand. Thus, it's a zero-sum game that heavily relies on price. Not in all cases, but in many cases. When you add the internet to it, we have what is called basically a race to the bottom, right? Boxes come out at 100, 120. You know, some local game stores will still say the MSRP of a booster box is $4 times 36 packs. And while that might be true, there is no true MSRP. But let's say effectively the MSRP is 99 bucks. Then seller B, because I buy the same booster boxes from Wizards as you do, I make mine 98. Then you make yours 97. Then I make mine 96. And before you know it, we're both selling them for 80. And neither one of us is making any money. I have particularly deep knowledge with this scenario because many of my clients offer exclusive branded items. I work with brands like Sharpie, and they have this same problem where you get the same Sharpie marker from anywhere, but you can have some wild cards that basically set the new bottom, and everybody suffers from the top down. And this is where you see companies instituting MAP pricing, which is the minimum price at which you can sell something. Okay, we see this working very effectively with Apple, for example. So many people in the Magic community use Apple products, and they're totally fine paying whatever the minimum suggested retail price is. Now, some people out there call it anti-consumer, and we can have that discussion perhaps over on my quartering channel where it's a bit more about debate. But this is a reality that it exists in the market. Now that we agree, or we know we've had an established set of truths about the industry, I want to suggest a couple of things that I think Wizards of the Coast can do to help save local game stores before it's too late. And it may already be too late. But I hope that those of you watching that frequent a local game store or want them to stay around will also contribute your ideas in the comment section down below. And as much as Wizards of the Coast openly hates me, I hope that they'll read some of the comments. I hope that this video will get shared around and that somebody there will see it. Maybe together we can work on some ideas. So my first idea is to offer an exclusive selling window for local game stores. Now, I don't think you have to do this for every single product. I think you could do it with Commander products. Oh, I almost forgot. The other thing we all have to accept is the WPN program. WPN exclusives is no longer what it used to be. It used to be a great way for local game stores to make money. Not so much anymore. The product value has diminished significantly because of secondary market temptation. And, you can buy full cases of From the Vault anytime you want. You have products like the anthologies, which would be a great WPN exclusive, but it's not. It's out there for everybody, and lots of local game stores that stuck their neck out and bought a lot of things like Planes Chase Anthology are still sitting on them because they got liquidated on eBay for $30 less than the local game stores were selling them. So I think we can all agree that the WPN program isn't what it used to be. And this was a system that Wizards had in place to help buoy local game stores. What I would like to see is them reposition that and offer a exclusive period for local game stores, 1 week, where you can only get the new Commander decks at your local game store. You can only get Planes Chase Anthology, Commander Anthology, Dual Decks Anthology at your local game store for the first week. I think this would be a very effective way to get people to support their local game stores and still allow people to get the most market adjusted, the fairest price, if they choose to wait a week, right? The market will self-adjust if people are overpricing. And I think that the rule should also be that they cannot sell this item online. Brick and mortar only, brick and mortar sales only. Wizards already has a mechanism to enforce this with their WPN contracts. The biggest problem with enforcement, specifically with one client that I have, is that they were worried about, we don't have any power over them. And so we had to redraft contracts with all of our wholesalers. It was painful, but once it was done, it was done. Wizards already has that power that they just need to amend. And Wizards already does this with Dungeons and Dragons product. Local game stores get an exclusive window to sell the product. So why not roll that out to Commander products and anthology products, of course, from the vault. I'm not saying everything. I'm not saying standard sets. I'm not even saying it has to be on things like Modern Masters, although I think it should. I think you could take it to that next level. Flood the market all you want after that, but give local game stores the first crack at it. Now, the second idea, which was actually raised by a couple of local game stores, is map pricing. This is basically saying there's a minimum price that you are not allowed to sell the product underneath. This is a contractual agreement, and it helps maintain profit margins. And this is something that I think Wizards would have to be really careful about. But if we can all agree that like the map price of a booster box is $99, then I have no problem with it. If the map price is $130, I have a massive problem with it. So this is a more tricky thing that requires some more discussion, but that's what the comment section is all about. The biggest pushback for this type of program is going to be, well, how do you police it? And I've had clients say that as a way to push back, to protect wholesale partners. And it's baloney. I manage for a client that has about 500 SKUs, and it takes me about an hour a week. This is something Wizards of the Coast should already be doing with their F&M promos, which are constantly getting leaked, and other time-sensitive product. If there isn't already somebody at Wizards of the Coast who does this, I would be surprised. And it should be the cost of doing business if you have to hire somebody. This is not an easy or a hard thing to enforce. You're going to have one or two local game stores get terminated, and that'll be the last of it. And then people can go to their local game stores, get the product on release for the release week, or they can wait a week and buy it at Walmart, Target, Walgreens, and their local oil change place, because basically you can buy Wizards of the Coast product, Magic product, anywhere. I think if Wizards considers this, it would be a net positive for local game stores at a time, I think, when they actually need a ton of help and it's not really getting addressed. These folks are out there struggling to give us all a place to play the game we love. And if Wizards doesn't act quickly, more and more of them will continue to close. It's fun to have a hobby business, but eventually I want these people to be able to support their family on it. I want to see a father pass their local game store down to his son. This is how the community grows. It's not a new local game store shutting down every 12 months and maybe one opening up. But what I want this video to be is a discussion where maybe the best idea can win in the comment section down below. And certainly, I'm really interested to see what your take is on map pricing or an exclusive window on certain products or some new idea that I haven't even thought about. Hopefully, Wizards will take some of our ideas and help make WPN great again. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you on Monday. We'll talk to you again real soon.